I suppose I don't have a question there, but the closest question I have on my list here is, beyond just the self-interest and other stuff, do you believe this has to be? So is it still philanthropy when folks when it's an average donor giving $45? Because that's not really his excess. It's not excess for him.
Yeah, I don't really know what that is. That's not. Well, I mean, I think, for example, if freed money applies to Andrew Carnegie, it applies to me. It applies to everybody, every reasonably well-employed person. I mean, I have an excess amount of money, not very much, but I do have some.
Yeah, congratulations. You did work hard, and
lots of people do. Lots of people do. It's called the American middle class, and they give to community chest drives, United Way drives, and
NPR. Mom told me you're hobnobbing with some NPR bigwigs soon.
Well, we give money because I believe in it. It's my particular cause. I like public radio, and I think it does a lot of good things. And I listen to it all the time. I mean, it's a complicated.
You're a recipient of the services.
Anyway, but everybody. It again goes back to the beginning of this discussion. It goes back to prosperity. I mean, we really do think about the poor people. That's fine. We do think about all of our issues. But the fact of the matter is, we're still defined by prosperity. We're still defined by, Tom Wolfe was really good at this. And I think probably reading him has convinced me of this. And that is that the average plumber lives a life that would have made Louis XIV faint. I mean, literally, we have, our average people have things that in the last 120 years, the last 5 generations, which is just a blink of a historical eye, we've produced, prosperity on a level that is just unbelievable. And one defining characteristic is everybody has a little bit of freed money. You know what I mean? And so, and that can add up. These community chest and United Way drives.
In many communities, there is people who they'll give to United Way or their local community foundation. Or the Jews have a federation.
Well, and separate issues tend to do remarkably well, and that you never think about. There is in Moore County here in North Carolina, a couple of people who just got really upset about all the homeless animals, and that the animal shelter couldn't take care of them, the government. The government does it. The animal shelter is actually a very good one, but there were just too many of them. And so they started doing it on their own, and they began to have very, very amateur fundraising drives. And there's a lot of people who care about that, I being one of them, and they have raised enough money to buy a 20-acre plot, fitted out to provide homes for animals, very often animals that are never going to be adopted, all across the board, from donkeys to kittens.
Yes.
And
we read animal shelter proposals often. As I understand it, it's possible with not too much funding to run no-kill shelters. And the current movement is around trying to eliminate the number of.
Well, I think one of the problems has been down here is to figure out the tax status, to figure out the government response to that.
So this is the government. So it's some government funding. It's a government institution, but mostly members of the community pitching in.
Yeah, but I think one of the issues...
Are there large folks contributing at a higher level on this thing? There's
I don't think so.
There's no lead anchor donor?
No, I think the main donation comes
That's very nice. To me, that's right. There's a problem that the community wanted to solve. They came together. They did it.
Well, my knowledge of this, my knowledge is limited to the fact that...
But certainly things like that example happen.
But you'll go to a street festival in Southern Pines, which they seem to have every other week.
I've been to many,
anyway, and you'll come across a pile of cages with cats and puppies in them, and I've talked to the ladies who were. One lady was the original founder and then a volunteer, and they told me that when they look at their budget, their number one item is volunteer labor. They have people who literally have free time, which I think about a lot. We don't think about that much as philanthropy. People have a lot.
Oh, I certainly do. I'd like to point out that I have over 400 folks that have volunteered their time for Unfunded List. And we would not have it is definitely the most valuable resource I've been able to.
No, I've read also that tutoring,
mentoring, Big Brother programs, things like that.
Going to a school where they just don't have the money to help students who are falling behind, and if you're you got an MA in English or whatever, or you were an ex-teacher, and you deal with these people and you keep them from falling out of the system.